All right, welcome back to Genius. So in this session, let's talk about links, let's talk about images, and let's talk about lists. Okay, so we'll take our time to break them down, but always remember that you have some chapters to read for this particular session. All right, the books are available. If you don't have them, please reach out to us to ask for the books. Okay, so into this class, we'll talk about links, the anchor tag, and some attributes that we use. We'll also talk about the images. We'll talk about image tag and some attributes. We'll also talk about the different types of lists that we have. Okay, and you have to read and docket HTML and CSS chapter 3 and 4. You also have to read the other book, Robbins, chapter 2, that talked about links, images, and other basics. So after taking this class, read these chapters, you're going to be so good at anything that has to do with links, um, images, and lists. Okay. So at the end of it, you'll be doing an assignment. You create a profile page. You add your portfolio, your photo. The previous class you created a profile page. So add your photo to it. Add some links to your favorite websites, and then add a list of hobbies or skills that you have. Okay. So let's jump right into it. So we start with links, okay? Remember, we talked about HTML being hypertext markup language, and the hypertext part of that name, we told you that it means that the whole web, all the pages in the web, they are connected using hyperlinks. So the whole web, the whole internet, the whole web is actually connected from these web pages using links. So how do you connect from one web page to another web page? That is where you use links. Some of you would have seen a lot of links on web pages. You would have even created one. When you click on it, it will take you to another website, or if you take it to another page of that same application. Okay. So links connect pages and resources together. All right. Links can connect you to pages, it can connect you to images, videos, etc. So links connect pages and resources together. They are created using the anchor tag. The anchor tag. Remember, in the last session, we talked about an HTML element having three parts: the starting tag, and the starting tag, the content, and the closing tag. So the link element starts with the anchor tag and ends with the closing tag. So this is the basic syntax. If you look at it, it starts with this less than symbol, then a, then there is a space. All right. All these things you're seeing here are this is an attribute. We'll talk about that later. But let me take you to this. Okay. So if you take a look at this, this is how to write an anchor tag. Let me just create an anchor tag here. You do okay, like this, okay? And then you also close it. Remember, this is how you close it. Then whatever that is between it will not be what users will see. So I can say, um, go to, sorry, I can say go to the global genus. And when I do this, the text that the user will see is what is inside here, is the content of this anchor tag. Now, this is the anchor, this is the link, the um, link element. Okay, and we use this tag. Okay, don't confuse it with this link element. Sorry about that. Okay, so but this is the hyperlink, and we use this anchor tag a, okay, to create it. So now, right now, this does not have. If I click on this, it will not do anything. So if I save this and then click on go live, okay, if I click on go live, okay, you can see that this is it. Okay, go to the global genius. Let me make some changes. I'll come back. Let me put some break. Okay, because this is, and where is it again? Okay, I will have to put some break here. Okay. So I go back to the browser. It should be in a separate. Now you can see that these other ones, they look at the text. The text is in blue. Anchor tags, all right, they are always in blue and they're always underlined. But if you look at this one now, why is this one that says go to the global genus? It's also an anchor tag, but it's not highlighted in blue. The reason is because I have not told the anchor tag or the browser. I have not told the anchor tag or the browser where the link will be going to. So if you want to do that, you have to add the href attribute. You can see these guys, they have the href attribute here. That is why the browser sees them as a link. But my own, the one I just created now, does not have any href attribute. So that is why it is not highlighted in blue and it's not underlined. So we'll come back to that later. So the anchor tag starts with this the A anchor tag, and then it you need to provide the href attribute. There are other attributes that the anchor tag also have, but the href attribute it specifies the destination URL. So in this case now, I have said go to the global genus. Now I have to provide the address. So I will have to use the href, okay? I have to use the href attribute and I'll put in the URL. So whenever the user clicks on this link, it will take them to that URL. Now let us try something. Now I have not provided the URL, but I just provided an empty string. Let's save and let's go back to the browser and see if it is highlighted now. It is still, look at how it looks. Okay. It's still not yet complete, but it's underlined and somewhat it is this color because I think we have visited this link. Um if you click on any anchor tag, all right, the color changes. Okay, but now let me just go and copy the URL of the global genus. Okay. And then I will paste it. I will not add it here. So in this href, anything between the double quote is the destination URL. So when the user clicks on this link, where would it take them to? So if I save it now, I go back to the browser and you can see now because the string was empty, it was still underlined, but it wasn't showing in blue. Now if I click on go to this global genus now, this will take me to another website. Remember, this is just a server. This page is being served from our local device here, our local machine here. So if I click here now, look at it. It will take me to the global genus. So from one web page to another web page on different machines. So I have to go back. Now you can see that since I have gone back, you can see that the color has changed. So this shows that we have visited um, this web page has been visited or this link has been clicked. Okay. All right. So that's more. So when you read these books that we have given you, you're going to understand more. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to drop it in the WhatsApp group, or you can also reach out to us. Now, the text between the anchor tags, the opening tag and the closing tag is what the user clicks. You have seen it. So when what I have in between here, between this is the starting, the start, the end, the starting tag, and this is the end tag. Okay. And anything that is in between here is what the user says. And you can see that that's what we actually have here. That's what we actually have here. So this is what the user says, and this is what they will click. Okay. So now these are some common attributes of the anchor tag. The href specifies the URL of the page or the result that you want to visit. Then the target, okay, so there is a target attribute. With the target attribute, it specifies whether you want to open the link on a different window or on the same window. So look at it, the default is safe. underscore self. That's the default. And when it is the default as self, the link will open on the same browser window. And if you look at, because this one we have here is the default, the target attribute, the default value there is self. And that is why if I click on this, it will open on the same browser window. All right. So, but let me go and change it, the target attribute. So I can actually look at what I can do. I can actually bring this thing down. So here I can even do this too. All right. Sure, you can even do this so that it will be all right. So I can now say target. All right. I can say equal to. Now the default is self. So even if I do this, it will still open in the same browser. It will open in the same browser. So let's go and check. So I changed it. If I click on it, it will open on the same browser window. But if I go now and change, if I go now and change it to blank, all right, it will open in a separate browser window. So I've saved it. And then if I click on this now, look at it, it has opened on another browser window. That same old one is still here. It's open in another browser window. But it is advisable not to open, not to open, um, not to use, advisable not to open the links in another window. Okay, but if at all you want to, always make sure that you tell the user that they will be opening this in another window. All right. So now you can do blank or you can do self. Self is the default. Whether you put it or not, it will open on the same window. But if you do target as underscore blank, it will open on a separate window. So we also have the title. The title would serve as a tooltip. So let's go and add the title and let's see what we have here. So I can also come down here and I will say title and I'll say equal to. I will now say this this link takes you to the global genius, the global genius website. Okay. Now look at what is going to happen. I have saved it. You don't have to save now. Control S. Okay. All right. So in case you're having difficulty running your Visual Studio Code or any other thing, just drop the questions. Just chat me up and drop the questions, okay? Or drop the question in the WhatsApp group. So now, if I take my mouse, if I hover, look at it, you can see that there is a tooltip. That thing I put in the title is what we have here. It says this link takes you to the Global Genius website. That is what I added in the title. Okay, there's an attribute. So if you also, maybe you actually have something to download. Let's say I have a PDF file to download or an image to download, okay? I can add this download, um, I can add this download attribute, okay? But the thing is this, um, okay, now let me create another anchor tag. I'll create another anchor tag. Of course, I'll put a break. This will make the next thing to go on the next line. So let me just create another anchor tag. Okay. And maybe, um, okay, I will say download. I will say download. You have to give it a descriptive name. Let's say I want to bring in, let's say I have an image, download flyer. Let me just say download flyer, okay? But you have to be very descriptive. So the thing is this, in the href, I'm now going to specify I will specify the address of this the image. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an image in on this I'm going to add an image here. So I'll go to my I'll come here, okay, and then I would do something. I would I want to, okay, I have some download. There is an image. So I'll copy this flyer. I'll copy it and I'll go back and I'll paste it here. I'll paste it here. So I will just change the name so that it will be easier for me. I will just change the name so that it will be very short. I'll change it to flyer. Okay, flyer.jpg. JPG. Okay, so I'll go back to my Visual Studio Code. Now I have my flyer here. So since I want users to download this flyer. So what I'll do instead of pointing this thing to a website, I can just put the flyer here. Um, Okay, so I think this would work. Flyer.jpg. I think it would work. Hope I am not making any mistake here. Okay, so then I will put I will now say download. I have not done this thing for a very long time, so I hope it works. So I'll go back. Then if I say click on download flyer, watch. You can see it has downloaded. Yes, it worked. All right, you can see it has downloaded. So look at it. If I go to my downloads, if I go to my downloads, you will see it there. Control J, I think Control J is go to download the hair. You can see I just downloaded this thing now, and it's from this server. Okay, so now if you want to download, if you want to make a file downloadable, a resource downloadable, instead of pointing, the href will point to, don't worry, we are going to talk of different types of links, and I will explain how to link resources on a web page. Okay. So you can see with this download keyword here, with this download attribute, I now change the href attribute, the value of this href attribute to be this flyer. So once you click on it, it will download this file. Okay. Now the rel is actually for relationship, but this is very, very advanced. We'll talk about it when we start talking about security. So it's just here for the sake of being here. I will not talk about it here. So now, examples with attributes. So you can see that we have an anchor tag. This anchor tag has a href attribute, and the href attribute is pointing to example.com. And the target is underscore blank, and the red is no opener. This is for security reasons. And the title is this. Okay, so and then the test is this, and then the closing tag here. So this will open in a new tab, like you already know, and this will add a tooltip. The tooltip will be go to example, and then this is for security reasons. But for now, it is beyond the scope of this class. Okay. All right, so there are different types of links. Okay, you would also read this thing when you read in those chapters we have given you. You will read more and understand them better there. So the first one is called the absolute URL. The absolute URL is look at the example here. Let's go to my Visual Studio Code. This is an absolute URL. All right, it's pointing to another website. This is the full link. This is the full link. It is always full. All right. This is an absolute URL. Okay. Absolute URL, something like this. Okay. Relative URL is it points you to within the site. Okay. It points you to within the site. Just like now, I have um even with this guy here. All right. This is a relative URL. Okay. So I can also add another URL. I can say I can put another break, and I can say the anchor tag. I will close the anchor tag, and I will say go to the one. Okay. Then the href will now point to the HTML file. Remember, we have the one.html. So I can say HTML, or I can do dots. Okay. But this is not giving me IntelliSense. I don't know why. Maybe I'll have to. Okay. Now the thing is this. I can just say, since they are in the same folder, I can just say the one.html. So this is a relative URL. A relative URL points within the same folder, within the same server, not even folder, sorry. It points within the same server. It can be in another folder, but it shows that this particular resource is actually within the same server. Do you understand? It is within the same website. Let me put it that way. But a relative URL points to another website altogether. So if I save this now, go to the browser. If I click on go to day one, look at it. You see, it takes us to day one.html. All right. And of course, the default is target is self. Okay. So you can see. So this is using a relative. This one is using an absolute URL, and this one is using a relative URL. Okay. So don't worry, you will get to understand better. If you don't understand this, please reach out. Drop the question in the comment section. Sorry, drop the question in the WhatsApp group. Okay. We also have email link. So now you can see that the href here is pointing to it says mail to, and this is somebody's email address. So let me show you how it works. Now look at it. Okay, we have a whole lot of, I hope this is not confusing you, but let's take a look at what we have here. Okay, now with this, okay, you can send somebody, you can, with a link, you can actually send somebody an email. So look at it. Look at the value of this href. It says mail to, then there is a colon, then the person's email address. Okay, there's the person's email address. So if I go on now, if I click on this link, it will take me to my Google Mail, especially it will take you to your default mailing engine or mailing software. So if I say email us now, look at it. If I click on it, it will take me to, it will open my default email engine. Why is it taking time? Oops. Why? Okay, let me change. Maybe let me change the email address to for my own email address. Okay, there's nothing like info@this.com, please. Let me change it to info@gmail.com. Okay, let's see why that is the problem. Email@gmail.com. So this has to be a valid. Okay, so if I go back, then if I click on it, it does nothing. Oops. Okay. The thing is that I don't normally use this. I have never used this in any application, but okay. You see, I made a mistake here. Sorry. Okay. This is actually debugging. When you're writing programs, you'll be having some errors. So you have to be debugging. So if I click now, it still doesn't work. It still doesn't work. Okay. So let me, um, let me try maybe, I don't know why it's not working, but let's say, let me use, okay, there's gmail.com there already. Okay, so let's try. I don't know why it's not working, but for some reasons, okay, maybe we'll talk about this in our, hmm, okay. I don't know why it's not working. For some reasons, I've not used this before in my application. So pardon me if this is not going well. So we will have to leave it. Okay. But I have tried it somehow before, but it's okay. It's okay. 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 So we also have the telephone link, but this one will work on a mobile browser. Instead of mail to, you add tel, all right, and then the person's phone number, all right. So I have not tried these two before, honestly. I have not used them in any application, but you can try it yourself. Okay. Now the best practices. You always use the red for security reasons with target blank for security. All right, for security reasons. Make links very descriptive. Make sure that anywhere they are clicking, avoid using click here. Give a descriptive name of where they are clicking to. test broken links regularly. Okay. All right. So the next thing we talk about are images. Okay. So images are added using the image tag. So you can add images to your application, to your website. So we use the image tag, the IMG tag, and then we have to provide the source. The source will tell us where to get the image. The source will tell the browser where to get the image. All right. Then it is the path to the image. It can be absolute or it can be relative. I believe by now you will understand what a relative URL is and an absolute URL is. It also has an alternative test. This alternative test is when in case the alternative test is what the user will see in case the image doesn't load. So it is compulsory. Always make sure you use them. But before we go into more of this, let's go and add an image. I already have an image somewhere here. So I can under this, I can say IMG. Now the image is a self-closing tag. It's a self-closing, it's an empty element. It doesn't have content. All right, so it's a self-closing tag. So you can see here, it just started with this. It doesn't have closing tag. It doesn't have end as in this is it doesn't have the start tag and the end tag. It's just one tag. Then inside of it, you can now put the attribute source is equal, oops, sorry, AMG, then source is equal to the source will be flyer.jpg. Okay, so I did not include any other attributes. So let's save and see what we have on the browser. You can see now it is as big. It is very big. So the thing is that we have to now regulate it with size. So we are coming to that. So, but before then, I will have to add an auth attribute. Okay. We also have the auth attribute, which could be, I could say the auth attribute is image for 100 days front end development. Okay. Now, this would not show now. If I save it now, you will not see it. Okay. This auth attribute, you will not see it now. It's still the same thing. You will not see it. But the thing is that if for any reason, this image didn't download or is not showing, let's say we made a mistake. Instead of flyer, we just say we add W here. So we have made a mistake here. So the server will not see the flyer here. So when we now go now, you will see that the flyer will not show again. You can see the auth attribute is not showing for it. If the image for some reason didn't download for any reason whatsoever, okay, the auth attribute will show. Whatever you put in the attribute will show. So that is why we are having this here, okay? So we have other attributes like the width and the height, and we also have the loading. So let's take a look at the width and the height. So now you can see that my image is so big, it's covering everywhere. So I have to bring it back. And remember, we can actually put these guys on a separate line. Okay, so I can also add another one. So here I will add height. And then the height would be, let's say 20, let's say 200 pixel. Okay, and the width, I don't know, this is not giving me intelligence. The width is 200 pixel. So I will save and I'll go back. You can see now it has reduced the size and the width, the height of it. You can see it now. So you can actually adjust. You can, if you want to increase the height, if you want to increase the width, you can just make those adjustments here. So we also have another one called loading. All right, we have another attribute called loading. Now, you might not really see this loading attribute, but the loading attribute, what it does is that it will load, it only loads the image whenever it will load the image whenever the image appears. Okay, let me show you with an example. So I'm going to copy these things. All right. I'm going to copy all these things and paste them so that this file will be so long that we might not see the image until we scroll. So if I save, sorry, I have added a whole lot of things here. So we have a long document here. Now, if I save it and go to the browser, you can see the first time the image is not showing. We have to scroll. Do you understand? So this is the scroll view. The image right now is not on the scroll view, but the thing is that the image would have downloaded. If we go to the network tab, you will see that the image has been downloaded. Okay. Now, if I refresh, you can see that the image was downloaded. All right. Even when the user does not need it yet because the user is not seeing it. All right. If you scroll down, that is when we now see it. But at the first time, we are not seeing it. It's not on, it is not within the scroll view of this page. So now, if we want to load it, now, right now we are loading it eagerly. That's the default. But if you want to say, okay, the browser, do not load this image until the user scrolls to where the image is. That is when you will load it. So now we'll go back and we'll say the loading will be lazy. So I'll go down to this image. I'll say loading. I'll say loading is equal to lazy. Okay. Mhm. Sorry, my Z is is dancing skelewu. So, all right. Okay, so I'll put it lazy. So I'm telling the browser, don't load this image. Only load this image only when this image is within the scroll view. So I've shown you what the scroll view looks like. So this is the scroll view. The image is not yet here. So look at what we are going to do. Watch this network again. I'm going to refresh. Okay, it has cached it somehow. That's why we are still seeing it there. So let me empty the cache and reload. Okay. Um, okay, this is not the best explanation for what I want to do here. Hmm. But the thing is, this would load the image lazily. Okay. So it can be lazy, it can be eager, it can be auto. So, but it will load the image only when the user requests it. But my example is not the best example here, okay? And I wouldn't want to take too much time, okay? So I believe I used the right value. Yes, loading is lazy, okay? All right. So you will read more about this in the textbook we gave you, okay? So most times, if you want to make your application performant, don't worry, we'll talk more about this when we talk about performance. Okay, we'll now spend enough time to explain this loading. For now, you might not even need it. Okay, so that is why I wouldn't want to go into details why my example is not working so that we don't waste unnecessary time. For now, I'll just understand that it's something they call lazy loading. Okay, you will see it when we talk about performance of web applications. All right, so we have the attributes like this. Okay, okay. So there are different types of image paths. It can be absolute path. It can be the absolute path is taking you to the absolute path is just the same thing with the absolute link that we did before. It takes you to a different website, but a relative path is within the same folder or within the same website. If you put the source as a relative path, that means the browser will get the image from another website. But if you put the source as an absolute path, the browser will seek for the image in another website. But once the browser sees that it's a relative path, it will look for it within the same website. Okay. It can also be within the parent folder where you can use the dot dot whatever to do this. Okay. All right. So best practice is always use auth. Make sure your image always have auth attribute. It is good for search engine optimization and accessibility. Make sure you compress images for faster load time because if you have heavy images, if your images are plenty 20 MB, 50 MB, 1000 MB, something like that, it will take a longer time to load, right? And of course, users will not have a good experience because it is their bandwidth, it is their data that is actually going. So make sure you use compressed images for faster load time and prefer modern formats like the WebP format. It is very simple and easy to use, and this is the format. So almost all your images, you should be using WebP format. Use lazy loading for images below the fold. Make sure you're using lazy loading in your images. Make sure you use this WebP format and then compress images to be smaller sizes. All right. The last one we'll talk about in this session, we talk about lists. Now, the thing is that, you can have a list of something, a list of what you want to do for the day, a list of what you want to buy in the market. It could be step, or maybe you're cooking, and you have a recipe. You can give people step by step things that they can follow. So that is where we use the list. Okay. So HTML supports two main types of lists. The first one, we call them the ordered and the unordered list. And there's also the one called description list. So I'm going to show you all of them here now, okay? So the first one I'm talking about is the unordered. You can see that unordered, that means it is not ordered, all right? So if you have a list of things that you want to buy in an orderly format, you don't use the unordered list. If you have a step-by-step procedure to follow to do something, you will not use an ordered list. But if you have a list of things you just want to buy in the market, you don't have to follow them in a particular order. You can use the unordered list because it is not ordered. It is bulleted list. All right, you use the anchor tag, the UL, and the list will be LI. These are the list inside of it. All right, so these are the list of fruits. Okay, you can see the opening tag, you can see the closing tag, and this is the content. And the content of lists are like LI, then you put the content. So these are list items. These LI are called list items. Okay. All right, we also have the other list that these ones are numbered. It starts with OL. The tag is OL, and they also use the list item LI. Okay. When you wake up, you brush your teeth, you eat your breakfast, in that order. That this is ordered step by step. Okay. So, but before we go on, let's show you some examples. This is actually not difficult. That is why. Okay. So I'm going to cut out a whole lot of things here so that our page will be very simple. Okay. So you can see that we have a list. Let me format this. You can see that we have a list. This is unordered. All right, this one is unordered list. And here we have, but we were not having all these guys here. So we can just put the order. Let's say the first, in this order, unordered list, we want to list. Okay, let me check for IntelliSense, please. I don't like HTML IntelliSense. HTML, let me look for HTML extension. HTML CSS support, okay. 26 million. Okay, let me go for this. Let me go for this. Okay. So I want to be getting IntelliSense and even support. It is installed. All right. So if I go back here, I can just put in. So the first, another list, I will say maybe this is list of mango, list of fruits. Then the next one will be, it's not giving me whatever. Come on now. Okay. All right. So I just have two lists here, mango and apple. Okay. So if I run them now, if I run this, if I save it now, you will see that this thing comes out as bullets. You can see they are in bullet form. All right. They are not ordered. But the other one, the unordered, the ordered one, instead of UL, I will do, it will be OL. It will be OL. So this one is ordered. And then the list could be, okay, when I wake up, what do I do first? Okay, the first thing is to maybe brush my mouth, brush my teeth, brush my teeth. The next thing I do, mm, maybe I eat. So if I save it now, go back to the browser, you're going to see that you can see this one is ordered. This one is ordered. You can see one, two, three. So when you read the book, you're going to see more attributes that you can use for them. There are attributes you can use, like the type. All right, you can use the type attribute. All right, to say, okay, I don't want this thing. I can say I don't want by default the type is numeric value. So I can say I want to use Roman. I can say I want to use Roman numerals. So if I save it now, okay, it does. Sorry, I didn't get it right. Roman. I don't know if Roman numerals. Mhm. Okay, it didn't work. Um, I think type. Okay, no. Is it type or I've forgotten this attribute anyways. Um, guys, it's been a long time I use this. Is it type or um, okay, I can say type to be A. Instead of starting from number one, it will start from A, B, C. All right, so now it's just the particular value. There is a value for Roman figures if you want to use Roman numerals. So you can see the default is one, which is numeric values, but you can change it to be A. And you can also say step. I think there's another this thing called step. That step would be like, okay, where do you want it to start from? If I say step, so I don't want it to start from A, maybe I want it to start from W. Okay, so if I save it now, you can see if we go to the browser, you can see, okay, it still didn't work. It's just the attribute value. So I don't want to waste too much time here. So when you read it up, you're going to get, just check for the type. It is in that book. I forgotten the type, but you can have this type. You can use it to change even this one to the UL. You also have the type. It could be bulleted, it could be circles, it could be squares. Okay, but just check it out in the book. Okay, or we can also discuss it in the WhatsApp group. Okay, I can just go and do more research. I've just forgotten it. All right. So the next one is description list. In your document, you might have a list of terms. All right. You might have some terms and you want to make descriptions for them. So for terms and description, let's say you have a term, you can say you want to explain JavaScript is a term. You can just write the JavaScript, then you can now write some descriptions. So look at this one. This one starts with the DL. DL means this description list. So DT means this is description list. This is definition term. So the term we are using here is HTML, and this is the description. The description is DD. All right. So it will start. I'll give you this one as an assignment. Do this one yourself because I have already shown you how these tags works. Okay. So DT, all right, and DD is for this DT is the term, and this DD, which is definition, the description, is a markup. Now, this is the description for this term. CSS is the term, and this other one is the description for this term. So I would want you to do this one yourself, but if you can't do it, post it in the WhatsApp group and we'll help you out. Okay? But it's just good for you to go and do things on your own too. All right, try it, and if you don't get it, reach out to us. All right, so it is good for you to know how to also learn on your own. All right, we are here teaching you because we were able to learn on our own and it made us stronger and better. Okay, so these are the attributes. I'm so sorry, that thing is not step, it is start. Okay, it is start. So, okay, so for the attribute OL, you can start, the type can be 1A, or then that numeral, Roman numerals, I can do I. So I can start with capital A, I can start with small a, I can start with the capital I or small I. So this I will be, it will make them in Roman, actually Roman figures, Roman numerals, okay? So this type would be like, okay, the default is numeric. You can also make it alphabet, okay? or Roman numerals. Okay. Now that thing I was doing step is not step, it is start. So let me go and correct it. All right, it is not step, it is start. So where do we start from? This step is another attribute in, I think, in input field. All right, so if I go back now, you will see it will start from W. Oops, what happened? It is supposed to start, actually, that start now. Why is it not? Why didn't it work? Okay, really? All right. Okay. I don't know why. I don't know why it didn't, it's not showing. It's supposed to show because it starts. Okay. So it can be starting the starting number. Okay, it has to be okay, maybe it doesn't work for alphabets. Maybe it doesn't work for alphabets. So let me go. I think it should work for alphabets. Let me take it back to numeric and I'll say I want to start from 5. Let's see. All right. Okay, you can see maybe it doesn't work for numeric. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Okay. Um, we have some examples here. Okay, okay. Even though if it is numeric, it can still be, we don't have to start with W, we can start with a numeric value there. So let's go and change it. So instead of this, I can say A, but I want to start from the fifth alphabet. Sorry, I didn't save this. I want to start from the fifth alphabet. So if I go back to the browser, all right, you can see here. Okay, so you can see it's just me forgetting some things. It is normal though. I have a lot of things in my head. I have a lot of things in my head. So it is okay for you to forget things, but you can see that I can just make some browse it and do some references and I will get what I'm looking for. So you can see here. So it starts from the third one. It can also be reversed. You can say, when you say reversed, it means that look at it. If you say reversed, it will count backward. So if I go back here and I want to count backward, I can just come here and I'll say, sorry, not result, reversed. Hope I get the spelling correctly, reversed. So let's go and see the behavior of our list now. Oops, it didn't work. It didn't work. I think I didn't. It's not reversed, it is reverse. You see, any small mistake like this will just get things. No, it still didn't work. What was it? Reversed. It count numbers backward. Okay, so why is my own not working? Reversed. Hope I got it correctly. Okay, and let's say I am not doing this. Let's see what happens. Okay, we must get it today. You can see it's working now. Okay, I think if you want to use the reverse, you don't have to use um even the start works here now. So why is my one? It worked there, so you don't have to remove the start. Even let's just try this thing with the start. Let's start with 3. Mhm. Start. I hope I got it correctly. So we go back to our browser. You can see it's working. All right, it is reversed now. So practice, 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 practice. All right. Use semantic lists for menus, steps. Use semantic lists for menus and steps. Avoid using lists for layouts. When you want to do layout, we use CSS grids and flex. Keep nested lists clear and properly indented because you can also nest this list. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you understand what we taught here. If you don't, please make your note, drop your question in the WhatsApp group, reach out to us, all right, and then make sure you do your assignment, make sure you do your test, and we'll see you in the next session. Thank you very much.